Hey besties, today's project is this granny stitch hexagon jacket that I made as a little birthday present for myself. The pattern that I used was by AC Crochet. I'm going to tag her in the description box so that you guys can check out her channel. I decided to make mine as a jacket, but if you prefer yours as a shirt, you just have to reduce the length. These are the materials that we're going to need for the project. By the way, if you would like to see the video of where I fixed my press-on nails, I have already uploaded it, so feel free to watch it. For the yarn, I used about 10 balls of the light blue yarn and 2 balls of the hot pink yarn. So you're just going to take the colors of the yarn that you want your jacket or shirt to be. So this is what the yarn looks like. Someone asked recently for the size of the yarn I use, but it wasn't indicated on the pack. So I just hope you're able to get an idea of the size of this yarn. Then you're also going to need your crochet hook. I used a 4mm crochet hook for this project. So you'll use the hook that's the right size for your yarn. Then you're also going to need your darning needle to sew in the loose ends. So this is my darning needle. And a pair of scissors. Before we begin, you're going to measure from inside your armpit to the length you want the top or the jacket to be. So if you want it above your knee, if you want it at your hips, just measure it and record it. So now you get your yarn and make a magic circle like this. So you put your yarn in your hand and then you wrap it around your finger to form an X. Then you insert your crochet hook. And chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and now this is the 4th chain. You're going to make 2 double crochets in the magic ring. So this is how to make a double crochet. You yarn over, then you insert your hook in the magic ring, then you pull through 2 loops, then you pull through the final 2 loops. This is 1 double crochet, so you're going to repeat this for the 2nd double crochet. So you yarn over, insert your hook, then pull up a loop, then you're going to pull through 2 loops and pull through the final 2 loops. Then chain 1, and now you're going to make 3 double crochets inside the magic ring. This is the first double crochet. Now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. Then you're going to chain 1 and make another 3 double crochets inside the magic ring. This is the first double crochet, now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. Then you're going to chain 1 and make another 3 double crochets inside the magic ring. So this is the first double crochet. Now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. Then you're going to chain one and make another 3 double crochets inside the magic ring. So this is the first double crochet, the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. You're going to count and make sure that all the stitches are complete and that you didn't miss any. So you're going to pull the middle of the magic ring, then you're going to chain one, and make a slip stitch to the top of the third chain. So that was the slip stitch. Now we're going to make the length we want the shirt or the jacket. So you're going to make chains till it reaches the length that we measured initially. That is from your armpits to wherever you want the jacket to end. You have to make sure that the chains are a multiple of 3. So for this jacket that I made 90 chains, and 90 is divisible by 3. So just adjust it to suit you. This was after I finished making my 90 chains. This is what yours is supposed to look like. So now we're going to make 3 chains after the 90 chains. So this is the first chain, now the second chain, and now the third chain. And now we're going to count 4 chains, and in the fourth chain you're going to make 2 double crochets. So you turn it around, and in the fourth chain you're going to make 2 double crochets. So you insert your hook, and in the middle you're going to make your first double crochet like this, and now the second double crochet in that same hole, then you're going to skip 2 chains, and in the third chain you're going to make 3 double crochets, and this is what we're going to call a cluster. So anywhere I mention a cluster, I mean 3 double crochets. So we skipped 2 chains, And now in the third chain we're making a cluster, that is 3 double crochets. So this is the first double crochet, now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. Then we're going to skip 2 chains, and in the third chain we make another cluster, that is 3 double crochets. So you insert your hook and you make your first double crochet, now the second double crochet in that same hole, and now the third double crochet. Then I'm going to skip 2 chains, and in the third chain we make a cluster. So this is the first double crochet, the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. We're going to skip 2 chains, and in the third chain we repeat it. So I make a cluster. So you're just going to repeat this till we get to the bottom of the jacket, the jacket in the making. So this is it. This is our second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. Then we skip 2 chains, and in the third chain we make 3 double crochets. This is the first double crochet, now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. So I'll see you guys when I get to the bottom. This is what the pattern is going to be looking like while you're making your clusters. So just check it against yours if this is what it's looking like. If not, you're going to have to check it and check what you're doing. Yeah. Then you're going to skip 2 chains, and in the third chain you're going to make a cluster. So this is the first double crochet, now the second, and now the third. So this is what yours is going to look like. So I'm just taking it slowly so that everyone understands what we're at. So this was after I had finished making all the clusters till I got back to the top. So now we're going to do a different pattern. So now we're going to make a cluster in the chain 1 space at the top. So you can see that space there where we made a chain 1. We're just going to make a cluster, that is 3 double crochets. So this is the first double crochet, now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. Then in this next space, you're going to make 3 double crochets. That is the next chain 1 space, you're going to make 3 double crochets. So this is the first double crochet. Now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. Then you're going to chain 1, and in that same space you're going to make another cluster, that is 3 double crochets. So this is the first double crochet, now the second double crochet, now the third double crochet. So that's going to form a corner. So in the next chain 1 space, you're going to make the same thing that you did in that chain 1 space before. So 3 double crochets. Here's the first, now the second, now the third double crochet, then chain 1, and in that same space you're going to make another 3 double crochets. So this is the first, now the second, and now the third. And in the next chain 1 space you're going to repeat the same thing. So you make the 3 double crochets, then chain 1 and make another 3 double crochets. So this is the first double crochet, now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. Then chain 1 and make 3 double crochets in that same space. So this is the first double crochet, now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. Then in the next chain 1 space we're going to repeat it. So make your 3 double crochets. This is the first double crochet, now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. And chain 1 and make 3 double crochets in that same space. So this is your first double crochet, now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. So now that we've gone through all of them, we're going to enter the final one. So you're going to make 3 double crochets in that space there. So this is the first double crochet, now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet in that same space. So you can see we have finished that circle. So just check against yours, make sure you have this shape. So all the corners that are supposed to be pronounced, make sure yours are also pronounced. So now we're going to close the top like this. So you insert your hook, and you can see that space where we made the cluster on the opposite end. You're going to go inside that same hole and make a cluster. So I'm bringing it closer so you can see it. In that same hole, make a cluster. That is 3 double crochets. So this is your first double crochet in that same hole opposite the first cluster. So this is your first cluster. That's your first double crochet. And now your second double crochet. And now the third double crochet. So you're just going to make clusters opposite each other till we get to the bottom of the jacket in the making. So now in that same hole, make 3 double crochets. This is the first, now the second, now the third, then the next. You make a cluster, then in the next make your cluster. And in the next make your cluster. So this was after I finished making all my clusters down till I got to the bottom. So this is what yours is going to look like. So now that we're at the bottom, I want to show you where you're going to insert it. So right in that hole, you're going to make your final cluster. So this is the first double crochet, now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. So you're going to chain 3 since we're at the bottom, and you're going to make a cluster in each of the spaces. So you can see that space there, that's where you're going to make your cluster. So this is your first double crochet, now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. Then in the next space we're going to make a cluster. So this is the first double crochet, now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. Then in the next space make a cluster. So you're going to continue making clusters in the spaces till we get to the top. That is, you're going to make 3 double crochets. So now we're at the top. This is after I have finished making all the clusters in those spaces there. So in this space here, you're going to make a cluster. So this is the first double crochet. Now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. In the space that's following it, since it was a corner, that is, there was a chain 1 and a cluster in between the chain 1, you're going to make another cluster, chain 1, and make another cluster in that same space. So this is the first. Now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. Then you're going to chain 1, since it's a corner, and make another cluster in that same hole. So this is the first double crochet. Now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. So this is our corner. So in the next space, it's not a corner, so we just make a cluster there. That is 3 double crochets. So this is the first, now the second, now the third double crochet. Then since the next space is a corner, you're going to make your cluster, chain 1, and another cluster. So this is the first double crochet, now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. Then you chain 1 and make another 3 double crochets in that same hole, since it's a corner. So this is the first, now the second, and now the third. So now we have made the second corner. The next space, you're just going to make 3 double crochets, since it's not a corner. And in the next space, since it's a corner, you make your cluster, then chain 1 and make another cluster. Then in the next space, since it is not a corner, you just make 1 cluster. Then in the next space, that is our final corner, so you make your cluster, that is 3 double crochets, then chain 1 and make another 3 double crochets. Then in the next space we're just going to continue as usual with our clusters. So as you can see, we have finished the top like that. You need to make sure all your corners are intact. So you just continue by making your clusters. So in this space, you make your first cluster. That's 3 double crochets. Then in your next space, you make 3 double crochets. And in the next space, you're going to make 3 double crochets. Then you're going to continue making your clusters in those spaces till we get to the bottom. So this is after I have finished making my clusters. So in this final space, you're going to make a cluster. That's 3 double crochets. And you make a double crochet at the top of that chain 3. Chain 3, turn your work around, and into that space there you're going to make 2 double crochets because the chain 3 counted as the first double crochet. And you continue making your clusters as usual, that is 3 double crochets in each of the spaces. You're going to need to take note of how we are starting and ending each row because that is what you're going to be changing in the pattern as you're going ahead. So this is after I finished making my clusters till I got to the top, and now we're going to make another cluster in this space since it's not a corner. This is the first double crochet, now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet, and in the next space, since it's a corner, we're going to make your 3 double crochets, then you chain 1 and make another 3 double crochets in that same space. So this is the second double crochet, now the third double crochet, then you chain 1 and make another 3 double crochets in that same space. So this is the first, now the second, and now the third. Then in the next space, since it is not a corner, you're just going to make a cluster. So this is the first double crochet, now the second double crochet, and now the third double crochet. Then in the next space, since it is not a corner, you're just going to make a cluster. Then in the next space, since it is a corner, you're going to make your cluster, then chain 1 and make another cluster in that same space. This is the second double crochet, now the third double crochet, then you chain 1 and you make 3 double crochets in that same space. And in the next space, since it is not a corner, you just make your cluster. And in the next space, you're just going to make a cluster. So if you notice, the spaces in between the edges are becoming more. So just take note of that. Then in the next one, as you can see, it is a corner. So you do what we normally do to the corners. That is, you make a cluster, then you chain 1 and you make another cluster. Then in the next space, since it is not a corner, you make a cluster. And in the next space, you make a cluster. And since the next space is a corner, you're going to make a cluster, then chain 1 and make another cluster. So you guys should drop in the comment section if you prefer more slower paced tutorials like this one compared to my other tutorials that I would usually make it more fast paced, because I think this one is easier for those that are beginners because they're able to see every single step, well, almost every single step of what we're doing to achieve the results. So now in the next space, you're just going to make your clusters. As you can see, all the corners are already formed. So just check yours, make sure your corners are already formed before we continue. If not, I don't know what it's going to come out like. So just check yours, okay? And now you're just going to make your cluster till we get to the bottom of the jacket. So in the next space, you make a cluster. And in the next, a cluster. So you're just going to repeat making clusters till we get to the bottom. So this was after I finished making my clusters. Now we're at the bottom. So you make a cluster in that space. Then you're going to make a double crochet at the top of that chain one, of that chain three. And chain three. And turn your work around and make clusters the same way we made them before. So as you can see at the edge, we made two double crochets anytime we made a chain three to start. So just take note of that when you're continuing. By now you should also be able to fold the top, because what we're trying to make, it starts from the armpit out towards the chest. So you're just trying to increase this till that top part is wide enough for your arm to enter. So I made 11 rows with blue yarn, and this is what it looked like. After that, I made 2 rows with pink yarn. Then I made another 1 row with the blue yarn. By then, the, the arm was already long enough, so I didn't want the arm to increase. So now I want to show you how I attached the pink yarn to the project. Over here, I'm just counting the rows to make sure that they are 11. So you make your double crochet at the end, like this. Then instead of completing it, you're going to get your pink yarn or whatever yarn you want to use so that we can attach it. Then you continue your double crochet like that. We're going to tie that later on, so you just put it aside. Then you chain. So those two ends, we're just going to tie them. Then you're going to continue making your clusters as usual. As I said, I made 2 rows using the pink yarn. So you can do as many rows as you want with whichever color of yarn you want to use. So now we're going to cut the yarn off. Now we're through with the pink yarn. So we want to attach the blue yarn again so that we can make one more row. The same way we did the last time. So you make your double crochet, and before finishing it off, you're going to get your yarn and insert it. Then you chain it and continue making your clusters as usual. Now we're going to cut it off. and tight. Then you continue making your clusters as usual. So this is after I had finished making my one blue row. So as you can see at the other side, the hand is getting wider instead of longer. So I'm going to show you guys very soon how I did it so that the hand would get wider instead of longer. So if you finish making your jacket and you want the hand to be longer, you know what to do. You just increase, you just continue making the rows. Do you understand? So you just continue making it. But if you reach the length you like, now you just want it to get wider because I wanted mine to be a bit baggy. So if you want yours wider, I'm going to show you what you're going to do next. So over here, I've just showed you guys the full thing in case there's anyone that has any questions on what it's going to look like. So this is it. So we finished making the clusters till we got here. So when you get to that point there, if you don't want it the hand to get longer, what you do is that after that your cluster at the edge there, you make 3 double crochets. Then you chain 3 and then you turn your work around so you make a cluster in that space. And you continue making clusters in each of the spaces as usual. So now you can see the difference between the two arms, between the two sides of the arm. So I'm going to show you what you're going to do when you get back to the other side of the arm. So I finished making my clusters round, so I'm back at the arm. So you insert your hook, and then at that place you make 2 double crochets, then you make 1 double crochet into the third of those 3 chains there. Then you chain 3, you turn your work around, then you make a cluster in that space. And you continue making your clusters till we get to the bottom. So this was mine when I had finished increasing the width of the arm. So I'm actually showing you the one at the left hand side right now, because that's the one that we're working on. So next we're going to try to make the back wider so that it will reach the middle of our back. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. We're just going to add a few more rows to the back so that it would be like this one. Then we're going to do the front after that. Before we do that, we're going to sew the top of the hand over there so that it will be together. So you're going to take your work, we're going to join the shoulder part using back loops. So from the edge we go to the middle. So you turn it inside out so that the stitches would be inside the jacket when you're through. Then you insert your yarn and you tie it. And you take your crochet hook, okay, so you cut a length of the yarn, then you take your darning needle so that you can sew it in, so you can sew the shoulder together. So you're going to join the back loops together like this. So you're going to make sure that you're not skipping chains. If not, the shoulder is going to appear smudged. So you just carefully take it one into the other like this. Then you take the next one and you continue like that till we get to the edge. This was after I had finished sewing it together. This is from the outside. So I'm just making the final stitch now. Then I tied it so that it would be secure. And I just fit it back into the loops. And cut it. Now the shoulder is done, so we're just going to try to increase the length of the back. So you can add as many rows as you want. I made 6 rows, so just make as many as you want. So you will attach your yarn and insert your crochet hook and chain 3. So this is the back that we're working on. Then you make your clusters as usual. So you make a cluster in this space. And in the next space, and you go all the way down, making clusters. This is after I went down with my clusters and I have come back up. So let's finish it up. So you insert your crochet hook, and in that space there you're going to make 2 double crochets. Then the third double crochet, you make it into the top of the chain 3. Then you chain 3. And you're going to keep doing this till you make the number of rows you want. As I said, I made 6 rows, so I just did this like that. This was when I had finished with the back. You can see the addition compared to where it was initially, because this part is very important. This is the other half of the jacket, so I had also added 6 rows to the back for that one. So now I want to do the front. So you take your work, so I just ended it here because I'm going to sew this side to the other side of the other one. So now for this part, we're going to skip 3 clusters. That is the first one, second one, and the third one. And in the fourth one here, we're going to attach the yarn. chain 3, 2, 3, then we'll turn it around, then we'll skip the turn, and in this one you make 3 plus 3 and have double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and next time 2, and we just continue going down. Then I'll show you what to do and come back to the top. As you can see, the front is slanting, so that's what we're trying to get. We want it to slant down. So now we're back at the top. After that cluster, we're going to make a double crochet at the top of the chain 3. Well, it's more or less the top of the double crochet. Yeah, just like that. So you're going to keep repeating this process till you've reached the width you want the front to be. So you skip that first cluster and you make a double crochet. So you make a cluster, yes. Then you just continue making the front as usual till you're satisfied. I made 6 rows at the front, the same way I made 6 rows at the back. The first 5 rows were like this. I just made this decrease at the front. Then I made the final row, that's the 6th row, pink. So when we finish doing all this, we're going to attach the yarn at the bottom to make the 6th row. So over here, I'm just showing you how I'm going to attach the yarn. This was after I made my 5 rows that were decreasing. So you insert your crochet hook, and then you make a double crochet at the top of the chain 3, and you don't complete it. You take your pink yarn or whichever other color of yarn you're using, and then you chain, you're later going to tie those 2 pieces together and cut. So you insert your crochet hook, and we have to parts of the jacket. So the first part of the jacket, you're going to choose one side that you're going to make double crochets in, like this. So you're just going to make double crochets in each of the stitches, and in the second one you're going to continue making your clusters as usual. That's in case you want to put buttons, you have somewhere to put the buttons into. That is, you put the buttons into the clusters spaces, and you can insert the button on top of the double crochets. But I didn't want any buttons, so I didn't bother attaching buttons. So on the other panel, I have already done my double crochets at the top there. For this one, I'm doing clusters. So when I finish, you're going to see the difference, because when you're wearing the jacket, one side of it has clusters in the color pink, and the other side has double crochets in the color pink. So I'm going to repeat this till we get to the top. So now these are the two panels. If you look closely, you'll notice what I just said, that one of the panels has the double crochets. That is the right hand side. You're going to see it's just double crochets that are pink, and the left hand side you're going to notice that they are clusters. Now we're going to join the back together the same way we joined the hand, the shoulder together. So after we finished making the back, I left a long length of yarn so that I would be able to join it. So you join it from inside so that the stitches won't be visible. So insert your yarn into the darning needle like this, and then you're going to carefully sew it together in the back loops only. This is after I had finished sewing the back together. As you can see, I sewed it from inside, so the stitches are inside the jacket, and it turned out very neat because I made sure I was matching each back loop to the other. If you don't match it properly, it's going to be smudged, so just take your time when sewing the back. So next we're going to do the collar. So okay, right here I'm just showing you inside the jackets. For anyone that has any questions on what it's going to look like. If you have a different way to sew it together, feel free to do that. So this is what I went ahead with. So this is when you turn it around, this is what it's going to look like. Now we're going to make the collar of the jacket. So you're going to insert your yarn, and we're just going to follow that piece I outlined. So before I begin, I'll just tell you I made 8 rows for the collar. 5 rows were blue, then I did 2 pink, then 1 more blue row. So you attach your yarn like this. Remember, anytime we're attaching the yarn, you make sure that the loose end will be inside the jacket, so that when we're sewing in the loose ends, it's going to be a lot easier and neater. Then we tie it like this, and it's inside the jacket. Then you chain 3, and in that space, you're going to make a cluster. And the next space, you're going to make a cluster. So we're going to continue making clusters in the spaces all round till we get to the other side. When it gets to this point, you're going to make one double crochet and chain 3, and you continue making your clusters. So since that's double crochet counted as, since actually 3 counted as a double crochet, you're just going to make 2 more double crochets. Then you continue making your clusters. So you're going to count the number of rows that you're making. As I said before, I made, first of all, 5 rows that were blue using this blue yarn. Then I made 2 rows using the pink yarn, and I made one final row using blue yarn. As you can see, the color is forming and it's going to be bending. It's going to turn out like this if you follow the instructions that I said before. So that's after I made my 5 blue, then 2 pink and 1 more blue. So now we're going to make single crochets along the sides like this so that it will be neat. We're also going to sew in those loose ends, but I'm going to do that off camera. So I'm going to show you how I made single crochets along the edge. So right here, I just made a single crochet in like this. I just continued making single crochets anywhere that I could fit it. So make sure yours comes out very neatly. So it just makes the edge look neat and more organized. And I made a slip knot there and then chain 1, okay, chain 2, then I pull the yarn and cut it. And on the other side, I'm going to reattach my yarn and do the same thing. So I'm going to make single crochets along the edge. So you insert your yarn. And make single crochets similar to the way I made them before. Remember, we're going to sew in these loose ends when we're through. So finally, we're going to make a row of double crochets at the bottom of the jacket. So you attach your yarn and you chain 3. Well, over here my memory finished. So you're just going to see it's midway through. So we're actually just going to make double crochets along the bottom of the jacket. So please bear with me. So this is the final result. Wow, this had to be the most time consuming project I have ever done, but it's worth it for the results. I'm so glad that I made this and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for the next video. I love you guys. Bye.